To call this meeting to order. Sure like to thank everybody for coming. We have a nice turnout. Must be something very interesting that's on people's minds, and I hope it's the same thing as mine. Okay, so we will start. The mayor, he's out today. Councilman Gene Seal, he's on the phone. So let's see who else. I think we're good then. So let's stand. The pledge will be led by Councilman Brad Hill, and our prayer will be by Councilman Mike Candazola.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day which you've brought upon us, Lord. We thank you for this weather that we've been having. We thank you for this great valley that we have in Stafford. We pray for all of our department heads, our employees, as we are up here in the council making decisions. We pray for everyone that is here to give presentations, that we hear them out, Lord, and listen to the great adventures that they have for Stafford. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, before we start the meeting, I'd like to recognize the presence of Paul Davis, supervisor, in the audience.
Thank you. Okay, and then item number 5, any comments on agenda items? None? Okay, any citizen comments on non-agenda items?
He'll call you individually.
Okay, and please, they'll be limited to 3 minutes, so, let's do a good job on it. I'm sure you will. We just can't wait to hear what you have to offer. Valerie, be first. No, up here.
Please come to the
And state your name.
5 minutes count, or do I have to run?
No,
You
I'll
better
start you
run.
what you said.
The clock's running.
And we can't respond to her.
I'm
And-
just
and
here to
please
represent
state
pickleball.
your name and address, and we cannot respond, okay?
Oh,
Since it's a
Valerie
non-agenda.
Michaud, I'm ambassador for the Southeastern Arizona, and 1655 West 14th Drive, Safford, Arizona. And I'm representing our little pickleball group. We would love for you guys to put 6 to 12 courts in Safford, Arizona. It would be great for the revenue. If we have at least 6 courts, we could have tournaments. That would help the revenue as far as, hotels and restaurants. We could have more people come in the area. I've had a couple of people call from Wyoming that wanted to move here, and when they found out we only had 2 courts, they said, no way. They moved to Green Valley because they had 29 courts there. So I think that if we had more courts, we'd get more people to move to this area. There's 4.9 million people playing pickleball, and it's growing. It's the fastest growing sport in the nation. So I really appreciate you guys considering pickleball courts, but please, please, please put at least 6 courts in for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Alicia? And your name and address, please?
My name is Alicia Henderson. I live at 7531 West Grandma Drive in Pima, Arizona. I am here with, stand up. These are a few of our pickleball people. We have a very large group. Thank you. We put together an information packet for you guys. I don't know how much you know about pickleball, but I put in some information from different sources so you wouldn't think this is all coming from pickleball people. As you can see, one of them is from CNN, one of them is from the ADO's Sports Authority. So anyway, I just wanted you guys to have that. I am not going to read the whole packet. So for those of you who don't know, pickleball is a combination of tennis, badminton, and ping pong. And it was created in 1965 by 2 dads on vacation who had a bunch of bored family. So they decided to try to come up with something to entertain everybody at once, and thus pickleball was started. During the COVID pandemic, the demand for safe distance activities helped the sport's growth, but the rapid rise is much more than a pandemic-fueled fad. According to a report that came out last month by the sports and fitness industry, in 2021, after most quarantines were lifted, pickleball grew to, as Valerie said, 4.8 million players in the United States, which is an incredible 2-year growth rate of 39.3%. This fact has led economists to declare that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. If you look on page 1 of your packets, you will see the breakdown in percentages, and you will see that pickleball is being played in every age group by a large percentage. The reason this is such a good sport is because it can be played by every member of the family, from kids on up to grandparents, and they can all play together at the same time. If you look on page 2, you will see the mental and physical benefits, and this came from an article from the AARP listing the physical and mental benefits of pickleball. When I first started playing pickleball 2 years ago, there was about 10 of us in our group, and this group alone has now grown to 28 players. I love the game so much. I'm a former tennis player, and as you get older, tennis becomes a little harder to do. So I went back and I took what I had learned from this group, and I introduced it to some people in Eager, and they introduced it to a few more people, and pretty soon there's now 14 players that come here to this area to play on the only 2 pickleball courts. They don't have any in Eager, and they don't have any at Roosevelt. So these people come here to play every other month, to play on actual pickleball courts. And in February, 14 people drove from Eager to come here to play. And there only 8 people can play at a time on 2 courts, so that left a lot of people waiting. So the demand for more courts it's really getting there. And I would like to point out that when this group comes all the way from Eager, we all get together, we go eat at the restaurants, several of them stay in the motels, and they all have to buy fuel to get home. We have a tremendous need for more courts. In February, we started taking pictures when there were more people than courts, and I have included those in your packets, and you can see how many times that happens. I want to mention that this is only our group. I can't tell you how many times I drive by and the courts have more and more people on it, and nearly every time that we play, people come up and they want us to teach them how to play, and so we welcome them in and we teach them, and when they leave, they're like, okay, we're coming back. This is so much fun.
Can you get ready to, cut it short?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. We are confident if you put in some courts that they will be used, and I would like to turn some time over to Julie.
Thank you.
Anybody's gonna be able to say anything.
Yeah, go ahead, Julie. If you want to just wait a couple minutes. Okay, and then your name and your address, please.
Hey, my name is Julie Cook. I live at 4543 West Norton Road in Central. And I just wanted to say I am a school teacher at Thatcher, and I teach my 6th graders during PE and during our skills time. I take them out, and I did a grant, and I got pickleball nets for our school. And so the kids they look forward to when Miss Cook has PE, because we take them out and I play. And I even have Alicia, she comes and volunteers and helps, and we get these kids, and I have paddles for every one of them, and they learn, and they're getting out there and learning a sport that's not playing video games. That's what my big thing is. We also have during the week, they already said how the courts are packed. We usually have we put our paddles up there so we know who's next in order to play. Other people can join in when the courts are full. The growth for the kids that have been playing from even when we started it, because I started at the end of last year teaching these kids how to play, and they're like, oh yeah, me and my family, we go out there and play all the time. So it's awesome seeing how it's a big family and community thing. In the summer, we play as early as 5:30 because it gets so hot, and then we play for 3 or 4 hours, and then we play again once the sun goes down. My husband, he's the Thatcher tennis coach, and he's put on already 2 pickleball tournaments. This is a shirt from one of our tournaments, and it's brought people in from all over the state, even from out of state. We had people coming back from like way back east that come to the pickleball tournaments. Then we have people that are retired that they travel around, and they, like Val said, if there's pickleball courts there, they'll make that part of their journey or their stop and stay in for a few days, and they'll play pickleball. You know, a guy who was at one of the tournaments we were at up in Sholo, and he flies around with his plane, he and his wife, and when they see pickleball courts, they land and they stop and they play, and they stay there sometimes for a night or so. But pickleball is not going away. It's not even a new thing. It's an old sport. It's just starting to finally pick up where everybody's getting used to it. And I'm one of those ones that came out of it from the whole pandemic. I started that June of 2020 when I needed something to do that we couldn't go out and be around other people. And my husband and Debbie Turley here, who has been asked to put on, construct a tournament for the big 24th of July celebration that they're going to have for the whole Gila Valley. So they're putting that on. But we have to use portable nets. We don't have a facility big enough to actually have it. You need at least like 6 courts to be able to hold a good tournament there to where it's smooth flowing. So we put up portable nets at the tennis courts right now for when we do the tournaments. So just letting you know how that's why it's a need for the bigger courts. And like we said, we have people that'll travel here, and pickleball, just lost my train of thought, so I'm going to say thank you for listening.
Thank you. And next, Debbie. His name and address, please.
My name is Debbie Turley. I live in Thatcher at 2888 West Mashad Lane. And as you can tell, we're very passionate about pickleball, so thanks for taking time to listen to us. One of the members of our pickleball group that we have wasn't able to come, and she wanted me to share some of the thoughts that she had. And these are some of the reasons why she felt like it'd be nice to have some more courts. She says it makes a positive impact for our youth, an activity that won't cost a gym membership and anyone can participate, an added bonus of great mentors. As a business owner in Safford, we could use as something to advertise and promote our wonderful active community. We need to encourage people to get out together and get healthy, and that was from Michelle Wilson. She works at Farmers Insurance. And also, just on my own thoughts for just a minute, I've been playing pickleball for over 1.5 years, and it's become kind of an addiction, but it's been great because we have people from Safford, Pima, Thatcher. We all get together. I've met people that I would never have met if we hadn't had this opportunity to play pickleball. We usually meet at the Thatcher courts, but like they said, there's only 2 courts. We've even taped off courts at EA just to, because we get an overflow of people, and we never want people to feel left out. It's a great way to bring our communities together from all the towns, and I think that's a great outreach and something that I think we should hopefully strive for in our community. But we never want to let people out, and I have great friends now because of this, and we're just hoping that we can get some more courts so we can keep adding people, because we never want to leave anyone behind. We want to encourage it and it to become just something that our community enjoys and thrives on. So thanks for the time.
Thank you. Okay, then next, David.
My name is David Ridlin, 828 West Kimball Lane, Safford. I'm going to take this to another avenue. I don't know how the City of Safford Council feels, or the residents of Safford, or the residents of Gila Valley feel about increasing this as a retirement community. You look at Green Valley, you look at Casa Grande, you look at Tucson. Really all we have here for revenue, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Freeport, municipalities, and the college. And if we can increase the desire to come here, to retire, the revenue that this would bring in, just not to Safford, but to the community as a whole, Gila Valley, I think would be awesome. So I'll throw that at the council. Again, I don't know how you all feel about that, or the residents of Safford, but that's my 1 minute.
We sure appreciate it. Thank you. And I'd like to thank everybody for their comments. They're very, very productive. I think, you know, I, for one, I'll just say, I'm speaking for myself. I think it's a great idea. I like the idea myself, but I'm the only one. Okay, then. Again, thank you. We'll move on to item number 7. It's a proclamation. It's a week of the youth, a young child proclamation. Victoria's not.
She's on the phone, I think.
Oh, okay.
She's going to introduce us.
She is on the phone. Victoria, do you want to introduce the proclamation?
Yes, I can.
Sure.
Right, so, evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to introduce First Things First. As you all know, First Things First is Arizona's early childhood agency committed to the healthy development and learning of young children from birth to age 5. The Graham-Greenlee Regional Council generously fund all activities and programs for ages 0 to 5 in Graham and Greenlee counties. Greatly appreciate all First Things First does for the community and their commitment to early childhood. With that, I'd like to introduce Nat Griffin from First Things.
Thank you, Victoria. Vice Mayor Ortega, members of the council. Like Victoria said, my name is Nat Griffin. I'm here with First Things First, and we are actually a state agency, and we are putting almost $1 million of hard-earned taxpayer dollars into Graham and Greenlee County early childhood programming each year. We've brought along some friends with us this evening, supporters and champions of First Things First. We have some teachers, we have Tanya Montes, we have library staff, and we are privileged to have Loretta DeSanier. She is a council member. We have a regional partnership council. Also of note is Council Member McGoy's wife, Donna, our county school superintendent, who serves on our council. Our regional partnership council is made up of 11 local volunteers who meet monthly and give of their time. They are committed to early childhood, and they are the ones who determine how to wisely invest our allotment of taxpayer dollars here in Graham and Greenlee counties, because we know that the needs of the children in Graham and Greenlee counties are different than the needs of the children in the great state of Maricopa. So we have local control of those dollars, and we take pride in spending them wisely and to the benefit of our community. A lot of those dollars go right here to the Safford Library and other great programs in the community. It is a privilege for us to be here with you this evening as you recognize the importance of Safford's youngest citizens. We know that 90% of a child's brain growth happens between birth and age 5 when they land on the doorstep of kindergarten. So it is critical that our children have quality early learning experiences in their homes and in their communities. So the purpose for the Week of the Young Child is to focus public attention on the needs of the young children and their families in our community, while recognizing that the early years lay a foundation for success in school and also later in life. It's also to pay tribute to the hardworking professionals who give so much to help give our little children a hand up to help every child in our community be healthy and ready to learn by the time they arrive at kindergarten, so they're prepared for success. So I brought along some information. Tanya and Sherry are going to give each of you a little gift bag. There's no yo-yos in there. Councilmember Andazola asked if I brought him yo-yos. I'm sorry, I did not.
Darn.
But I did bring you a regional impact report, and this will tell you a little bit more about First Things First and the work that we're doing and how we're investing our dollars here in the Graham-Greenlee region. There's also this nice little thing. This is a Graham-Greenlee resource guide. We work very hard on this. We work with all of the community partners that are listed in here. There's family service and education, all the doctors, hospital, mental health assistance, drug abuse help, pantries, food pantries, clothing, all the things, job services, domestic violence help, all the things that can support our families. I've given these to local members of clergy, to police officers, and they will say, you would be amazed how much time I spend looking for these phone numbers. So that's something that we're really proud of, that we have all right there, and we try to flood the community with them. We give them away all day and all night, so if anyone needs any for their place of business, my card is in your bag. Just holler, I can get them to you at no cost. Also in your bag is a special invitation, and I'm going to invite Elizabeth Henley from the library to come and tell you about this flyer. She's going to take just a minute and tell you about this special thing that we have going on in connection with the Week of the Young Child.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Henley, and I'm the Early Literacy Coordinator here at the Safford Library. We offer lots of programming here for ages 0 to 5, and something that we are so excited is happening during the Week of the Young Child is a free concert for kids ages 0 to 5 and their families with Latin Grammy winner Mr. G. He sings in English and Spanish and in both, and he's providing a concert for kids, and we're so excited. We actually have him for a 2-day residency. But what I'd like to share with you, and I've got flyers for our guests in attendance as well, that on Thursday, April 7th at 10 a.m. at the David M. Player Center for the Arts is where this free concert will take place. And we hope everyone helps spread the word about this amazing, amazing opportunity for our families. And and just to give a little plug, Mr. G is coming to us with a lot of support from the community. First and foremost, first things first, the Safford Library, the Friends of the Safford Library, Gila Valley Arts Council, Eastern Arizona College, Graham County Superintendent's Office, Greenlee County Superintendent's Office, United Way, the Flynn Foundation. So a lot of community partners bringing in Latin Grammy winner, Mr. G.
It's going to be a good time. If you want to see a good time, come on down to the concert. He's also doing a workshop for local teachers while he's in town. The last thing you'll find in your bag is not a yo-yo, but a children's book. And every time I give away a children's book to a grown-up, it comes with a challenge to find a child and read that book to a child. And if you can't find a child in your home or in your neighborhood, Elizabeth is always open to guest readers for story time at the library. So find a child and read the book and share the joy of early literacy. We appreciate again your willingness to proclaim the week of April 2nd through the 8th, the Week of the Young Child here in Safford, and I'll turn the time back over to Tammy for the reading of that proclamation. We'd love to do a little photo op with the council members and our couple of cute little girls here. If you're open to a photo op, we would love and appreciate that. And I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have, and otherwise I'll turn it back over to Tammy.
You know what, and before she reads it, I'd just like to say thank you for your presentation and all that you're doing. We really appreciate it, and our community in that appreciates it.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Arnold
wants to say something.
Arnold?
And you guys' enthusiasm made me real happy, but I got a little bit sad because the first person that introduced me to the value of this was Leanne, our former library director. And she sat me down and pretty much said, I want to talk to you about something that's very important. And I'm very glad that Victoria's picked up on it and ran with it also. And I kind of remember when you used this facility some at that time and stuff. But I know it's growing, I know it's here to stay, and it does a lot of good, but I got a little sad remembering Leanne, so that's all I got.
Thank you.
Leanne and Guyan both. We love them and we miss them. We appreciate their service.
Okay. Tammy, would you, please?
National Association for the Education of Young Children, Week of the Young Child Proclamation. Whereas all young children deserve quality early learning environments that support them as capable and competent lifelong learners, and nurturing parenting quality and accessible childcare and early education programs build strong brains during the critical years from birth to age 5. And investments in babies and young children has profound impacts on creating a strong and vibrant community. And first things first, Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children and other community organizations in conjunction with the National Association for Education of Young Children are celebrating the 51st anniversary of the Week of the Young Child. And these organizations are working to improve equitable early learning opportunities that can provide a foundation of learning for children in Safford and early childhood educations, and others who make a difference in the lives of young children deserve thanks, recognition, and support. And public policies that support early learning for all young children are crucial to Arizona's families, communities, and economy. The City of Safford does hereby proclaim April 2nd through the 8th, 2022 as the Week of the Young Child in Safford, Arizona, and encourage all citizens to support and invest in early childhood education in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to do the photo ops? Yes.
Yeah. You want the whole council?
Whoever wants to come down.
Okay.
Let's go on.
You can tell the ones that.
Oh, she's making sure everybody gets their stations. So
where's the next section? Where's the right next section? Yeah, Coach. That's the other one. Do you remember Ellie?
Did I second it?
Thank you so much.
Everybody's holding their breath. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Okay, then we'll move on to item number 8. It's a budget, fiscal year 2023 preliminary budget. Cabrina?
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. So I'm here to bring you some of the designated budgets for fiscal year 2023. Staff is seeking council input and direction. The presentation includes the general fund and internal service funds departments. Included in each department, if it's applicable, would be any capital items. I will go through the slideshow of all of the department summaries. I'll be skimming past the details, but if you have any questions as we're going through each department and you want to look at a specific detailed item, just let me know and we can stop and do that.
Just pull that mic down
Can you
and
hear
let's
her
go.
well enough?
Pull that mic down so we can hear you
Yeah, we can barely hear you.
I don't know how low this thing can go.
and the light's okay?
You need a little steps there.
They had one. Do you need me to turn the light off?
A little bit, please. You got, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Gonna pick her up.
So we're going to start with the city manager's budget. So in the city's manager's budget, you'll see that the overall budget has decreased approximately $169,000. The decrease is due to a transfer from the city manager's department to the utility support division of the utility director, as well as a transfer to human resources of our part-time custodial worker. Our next department is our legal services. This department is our legal counsel and court-appointed prosecutors. As of right now, there is no change in budget from year to year. The following department will be the city court. This is our portion of the expenses for the consolidated courts with the town of Thatcher. The budget is increasing a small percentage due to the court costs rising, and these court costs are based on the number of cases that the city of Safford has handled through that consolidated court.
I noticed that we have 7 phones for the court. I thought them employees were Thatcher,
They are Thatcher's employees, but we handle their IT,
their stuff.
their stuff, yeah. So then we have the city clerk's department. This one has a slight decrease because in 2022, we had a higher amount put in for the benefit, we had a personnel benefit elections were higher, and there's been the changes in there. And then there was also the city code recodification was a one-time process. There's gonna be a minimal amount that's carried over into fiscal year 2023. We've also added $6,000 for the election cycle. However, combined with the budget reduction of the city code recodification, the overall budget for the city clerk has decreased.
One more note, Sabrina. The numbers and the way we talked today, you're giving us the numbers with the 1.5.
Yes.
Okay.
And all numbers that are being presented in this council meeting, as well as the next two council meetings, will include that 1.5%,
Okay,
as
so-
well as the increase to the HSA and the 85-15 split for the child, spouse, and family coverage premiums.
So we're seeing everything you got.
Yes, everything is in there.
All right.
Our next department is our fire department. There's been an increase in the premiums, and that can just be from year to year as people change their elections, as well as the increase in premium costs. That explains that increase right there. There's also been an increase in the fire department for the mandatory municipal firefighters cancer reimbursement fund that the state has instated. In our Human Resources Department, there's an anticipated increase due to increased benefit costs and the transfer of the part-time custodial worker position from the City Manager's Department into Human Resources. As well as there's an increase in their training that will be provided to staff members, department directors, and supervisor positions to help increase our leadership skills.
And that's where I had a question, when that increase went to human resources.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're making one part-time, a full-time part-time, which, that doesn't absorb the whole cost of this department's budget going up so much. You were talking about the training.
Yes. So
And I was just concerned and wanted to make sure that each department still has their own training, and that this training here isn't necessarily, have to get a yes or no from this department to have training.
That is correct. They are not controlling the training of other departments. This is just specifically for them to manage the training of leadership staff so that we can better lead our employees.
Okay, 'cause the
And
training-
that's more on, it's on anger management issues. It could be on, would you like to step up and speak?
John, you want to add something? Or?
So,
Oh, yeah, if I could.
Go ahead.
No, please.
So we've partnered with Dr. Maria Church, and she's been highly recommended through the league for leadership development. So this training is specific to department heads, and her and her team are going to come down and do different workshops with us throughout the year. So this is specific to getting leadership training to the department heads.
Department heads, okay, because I'm concerned in the departments that they still have, they're still able to train their employees the way they need and see fit. Right. All right.
Vice Mayor, members of council, Councilman Lopez, this is part of an issue that you raised at one of the other council meetings, and it deals with the idea of employee morale. We're doing a lot of things out of the HR department that weren't done before. This will be the first step in that. So specific skills training, which is what generally would reside in a department, remains in the departments. This is really taking it more to a higher level. We've adjusted the way we're doing some of our executive staff meetings. Rather than going around the table talking to each other about what we did the last week, we're actually trying to increase focus on specific subject areas, and one of the areas is training. So we're trying to make those meetings more productive in giving our managers skills and skills training that they can use as managers in dealing with their employees. So this is very purposive, it's very focused, and it's in the HR budget because the skill set resides in HR in determining what types of trainings would benefit management team. And so this is what this number came from.
Yeah, and I understand that. We've taken a hit the last year and a half because we've had to back up from one-on-one or group trainings and being able to be there, and we've gone more virtual. And now that we're coming back out, I reiterate, I just want and hope that each department has control over their own training.
Okay. The next department up is our library. There's been a slight increase in the professional services overall. This includes the maintenance of public computer software and online database costs. The library is also going to continue there are additional opportunities to provide community-driven services such as the GED program, the English language learners, and free educational and self-improvement programs for the community, such as the school readiness programs.
Vice Mayor? And again, I had a little concern with, the library's budget didn't necessarily increase any, but they're gonna be taking over the other building also.
Their
And so I
budget
would've
did
thought
increase
that
a little
would've
bit.
increased.
Their budget has increased some.
Okay, increased, then that's in the, I don't see Victoria leaving that out. Okay.
No.
I did, all right. Let's go.
The next department is our finance department. Our finance department is projected to decrease. We've had a lot of changes in staff, so benefit elections from one employee to another has changed, and that has caused our personnel budget to decrease. As well as in our operations, there's a decrease of about $30,000. That has moved over to the fire department. That amount used to be for state mandated, the tax collections that the state does. They charged all of the communities percentage of your population. That's the amount that you got charged. Ours was approximately $30,000. In place of that, they have put in that fire cancer relief program. And so that was moved to the fire department. From there, we enter into some of our internal service departments, starting with AMI. Those are our field meter techs. There's a slight increase in this budget, and again, they've had some change in personnel, including benefit election changes and the insurance increases. There's also a replacement of one vehicle within this department with the enterprise. Then we have our business services department. There's a budget change including in the increase of premiums. This is offset by the employees' benefit elections. So you'll see that our benefits have gone down. We have also requested a part-time customer service representative at the landfill. This would help with employee scheduling so that it would reduce the amount of rotating schedules out at the landfill, so that we would have one full-time landfill customer service representative and one part-time that were dedicated to the landfill. So we would have more consistency in when they do their inspections of the vehicles as they come through. There would be some consistency for the customers rather than having 5 different employees giving their judgment calls on what a load should or should not include. And that increase to the department would be $17,000. And then in our materials department, there's a that is not the right comment. There is a slight increase to operational expenditures, and that is due just to the cost of purchasing items. Everything has risen in cost. And I believe that is the last department. Were there any questions? Do you want me to go back?
Any questions? Or I think that was great. Thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 9, under new business. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes of February 3rd?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Special events liquor license. Pam.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. This is a request for the Mayor and Council to recommend and approve to the Department of Liquor License and Control for the following fair and festival license applications: the Graham County Chamber of Commerce, Elgin Winery, Elgin Distillery, Wilhelm Family Vineyards, Sonoyta Vineyard, and Strive Vineyards. The attached liquor licenses are for the Safford Spring Festival that will take place on Friday, April 22nd at the Best Western Plus and at 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then on Saturday, April 23rd at 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on City of Safford lawn. The controlled area of the event will include City Hall lawn. They will use event barriers and orange fencing to mark the area. They will use signage clearly signaling participants where alcohol is allowed and disallowed. They will have a staff of 3, and our volunteers and board of directors will put wristbands on every individual. The Safford Police Department will provide security. And there is also a map attached for you to see the controlled area and the security. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? No, sir. Okay. It's an action item.
Move that we give a favorable recommendation to the state on these 6 liquor licenses.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to give a favorable approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Then we'll move on to item number 3, City of Safford Tree Replacement / Removal Program. This is for direction. Jason?
Vice Mayor, City Council, good evening. We have this pilot program, just bring it towards you this evening for discussion, specifically around some of the problematic trees that we have within our city limits. Currently, the electric division spends 15+ hours a week trimming back trees away from our current distribution system. And we want to put this program out there as a pilot program to try and determine whether we can reduce the number of trees that impact our distribution system, along with reducing the risk of our employees being in these situations where they're cutting specific distances away from our power lines. So we wanted to bring it before the council and vice mayor this evening, just to have some discussion around it and kind of get your guys' feeling for what you guys think. Currently, we have it in our budget for the year 2023, if the council feels like this is a good idea.
I'd just like to say, I think, if it improves the safety for the workers and, and they don't spend so much time on it, I think it's a good idea myself.
I think it's something you definitely should look into, because we do know there's some trees you have to keep going back on every year. Sometimes they barely let you touch them. Sometimes we're there to trim them out of the power lines, and they think we're there to manicure the tree, and that's not the case. So hopefully this catches on and it goes forward. And I spoke to you Friday that also the communication, when a tree gets into the lower communications and can put some strain on that, it also puts strains on our poles also. So,
for sure.
And you might work that in there too, or be obvious of it and stuff. But I think it's worth a shot.
So Vice Mayor and City Council, we have $2,000 in our budget for 2023 just as a pilot program, and this would allow us to provide either a $100 voucher to our customer or a $100 credit to their electric bill or towards their electric bill, whichever they would choose. And so that's kind of the.
Now, are you going to notify the particular property owner before you do anything?
Oh, for sure.
Good. Okay.
We'll have a legal document put together through our legal services that they'll sign and we'll sign together, so that there's a complete comprehension about what's going to go on with that program.
You'll pull your hair out in the first little bit, but it'll work.
Okay. Anybody else? No?
I have some thoughts on it, but I wish we had some. That's a really small number, because I know that there's some really mature trees that I almost wish we could move the power lines around them instead of butchering those trees. I don't know what the ramifications of that are. I know that would be expensive, and I hate to see the middle cut out of somebody's huge 100-year-old tree just to, when that.
I agree with you. I'm
Buried
not
power
su-
line would,
I'm not
look
sure if we have a
nicer.
long-term answer for these large mature trees where the owner of the property doesn't have an interest in removing them. Obviously, this is only a 20-tree program this first year, and we're gonna really track to see whether this has any impact to the hours that we spend in this, and whether we're able to actually remove some trees that are historic problem children, so-called, in the system, or whether we're just really wasting our time in it. And if we feel like if this program works out, obviously we would expand that budget over the years coming down the road, but
does this address some criteria so that we can't keep putting Italian cypress under our own lines? I mean,
we could definitely have that discussion with our Parks Department, specifically. I couldn't speak to specific trees myself personally, but.
Well, it said replacement and removal, so I'm assuming you're gonna discuss changing trees out. I'd like to see something that doesn't grow that tall if we're gonna put a tree in.
Definitely.
I hope that's part of the program.
So, and part of the program, that voucher that we provide them is for any type of tree that they want, but the relocation of where they want to plant that is going to have to be approved by the electric division so that it can't be placed in the same location as the tree we're removing, so.
Well, and while you're learning about this, don't overlook the trees that are planted over our underground power lines, because them roots, they get into them also and compromise, break stuff and just plain get in the way. There's almost as much tree under the ground as there is sticking out that hampers our underground stuff too.
Vice Mayor and Councilman Lopez, I'll definitely look into that, and we can start tracking some of the impacts that those are having to our systems. So as we come back next year, we can talk to that more specifically to that underground system.
Okay, sir.
I think that since this is a pilot program, you're gonna learn a lot
Yeah.
in this time.
That's the hope.
A lot.
You're gonna have some good discussions.
Anything else, anybody? Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, then we'll move on to number 10, resolutions. Resolution number R22-010, it's a CDBG project.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. We've met quite a bit over this item over my tenure here, and this is a request for the Mayor and City Council to approve Resolution 42-010, a resolution authorizing the submission of applications for FY 2023 State Community Development Block Grant Funds, certifying that said applications meet the community's previously identified housing and community development needs, and the requirements of the state CDBG program, and authorizing all actions necessary to implement and complete the activities outlined in said application. A letter of intent to apply is included as well. The background is the council has held the required public hearings, and staff has researched project options for this cycle of CDBG funding. SEGO will administer the CDBG funds for the City of Safford and has prepared this resolution and letter of intent to apply for funding to construct sidewalks. It is staff's recommendation to approve and adopt Resolution 22-010 and the letter of intent to apply for fiscal year 2023 CDBG funding. This will allow the application process to move forward. You have the resolution attached in your packet, and you also have a copy of the letter, and you have a photo of the two sidewalk projects that were chosen. They'll be combined. And the letter of intent is necessary to begin the application process. And you'll read through it, and most of the information in there is required on their template. You have to answer the questions to begin your application process.
Any comments, any questions?
I like it.
Want to read it, Karen?
Resolution number R22-010, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Safford authorizing the submission of an application for fiscal year 2023 State Community Development Block Grant Funds, certifying that said application meets the community's previously identified housing and community development needs, and the requirements of the state CDBG program, and authorizing all actions necessary to implement and complete the activities outlined in said application.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, was there a motion?
Oh, yeah, we need to vote on it. Okay. Motion,
So moved.
second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for reading. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2. Resolution R22-011. Thank you, Sabrina.
Oh, we need to get that. Good evening again. This is a request for Mayor, or Vice Mayor and Council to approve Resolution R22-011 for the creation of a reserve fund dedicated to the management of the city's pension liabilities by maintaining as near to a 100% funded ratio as possible despite adverse market and/or actuarial events for the length of the bond. This is part of our bond agreement that we went out to fund our unfunded liability of the PSPRS, and this is just another step in that process.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
And this is just to back us up in a way. I know Mr. Casellas explained it before and stuff.
Yes.
Did you touch on it one more
Yes,
time,
so
what
this
it's
would,
achieving?
this would set aside $500,000 so that if the rate of return that PSPRS does in the prior year falls below 5% of what they've predicted their rate of return to be, we can access those funds to pay off any unfunded liability that might occur because of that discrepancy of what they expected and what has actually happened. We would then be able to use that to bring us back up to that funded liability, and then over a plan of about 5 years, we could put in place something to pay back that $500,000. So for the length of the bond, we would always have that money set aside to make sure we were fully funded.
Because I know we talked about lots of numbers, 7% they expect and things like that. This was just to back us up.
Yes.
Brian?
Karina, just as a reminder, we chose to use our own funds for this.
Yes, we
not the
did.
bond.
We did not use the bond, so we're not getting charged interest on it. This
Okay.
is,
Vice Mayor, Councilman Hemphill, that's a really good point. And again, because of our financial situation, really what we're doing is taking part of the money in our general fund and simply setting it aside and making it a restricted fund balance whose only purpose is to support PSPRS. The guidelines within this policy we received from our financial company that helped us issue the bond or float the bond. So the language is pretty standard, and it gives us a great deal of latitude how we use it, where we invest it, how we pay it back. Ultimately, if we feel that we have more money than we need, if it's earning interest and we're not using it, it can go back into the unrestricted fund balance. So again, excellent point. It's our own money, and instead of paying interest on it, we'll earn interest on it.
Thank you.
My motion stands.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Want to read it?
Thanks for bringing that up, Brad.
Resolution R22-011, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Safford, Arizona, adopting a public safety personnel retirement system pension contingency reserve fund policy.
Thank you. And we'll move on to item number 11, contracts and agreements. Number 1 is the CNS contract award for taxiway lighting.
I'm not going to touch this microphone. Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. This is a request to accept CNS Engineers, Inc. proposal as, for the design of project at the airport of taxiway A lighting. Staff recommends accepting this and awarding this proposal. Just a little background, the city requested and received 100% reimbursable grant funding on this project from ADOT. The project will consist of replacing taxiway A edge lights and with LED fixtures, as well as the air-filled circuitry to be sized to meet current needs and future expansion needs. The original lights have surpassed their design life, and we'd have shelf-ready plans for when state funds come available for construction of this project, which would hopefully be in fiscal year 2023. CNS is our on-call airport planning and engineering service provider, and this fee proposal is included in your packet. The consultant's fees listed there in the little table I provided, showing the amount of the grant, which is 100% funded. $47,451 is the consultant's proposed fee, and this project is also on our city CIP as well as the airport capital improvement plan. Any questions?
Any questions or comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract with CNS for taxiway lighting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to item number 12, the reports. Everybody had a chance to go over the 5,000 expenses, over 5,000.
I had one. We got a Clevis rigid from Border States Industries. It was almost $38,000. I've never seen a Clevis that cost that much. I don't know where that one came from, so it's on page 93, so if we ever get an answer, I'd like to know.
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. That's all I had, Vice Mayor.
Okay, then we'll go on over 5,000 revenues. Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on to the P card reports. Son of a gun.
Not me.
Nobody?
I'm good, sir.
Wow. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 13. Announcements of current events. Anybody?
I got one.
Okay.
I think Friday's meeting when we spoke about the parks came out real good. We didn't know at the time that we had the school's IGA coming, so I attending that event, I thought we had good conversation and we headed in a good direction.
I agree. And I like the enthusiasm of everybody about addressing this park issue and all that. I agree with you 100%. Anybody else have any comments? Okay. Then we'll move on to item number 14, the report on operational items. Nothing's listed. I can't do it, so somebody better do it.
Can I do it?
You, by pleasure.
Can we adjourn?
Let's do it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.